Welcome to the channel. Hit subscribe and dive into stories that'll stay with you long after the video ends. Let's begin. Rain was coming down in thin silver threads when Emily pulled up to the house on Larchmont Hill. The kind of rain that makes the air hum, soft, relentless, whispering through the pines that lined the long drive. She killed the engine and sat for a moment, palms damp on the steering wheel. This was her chance. A new start. No one here knew who she'd been. The mansion rose from the fog like a memory someone tried to forget. Tall windows, ivy crawling up its stone sides, light burning in just one room upstairs. That must be the nursery, she thought. The agency had said the baby was 6 months old. The parents private people. That was fine. Emily was private too. A man opened the door before she even knocked. He wasn't what she'd imagined. Not the stiff, distracted husband she'd expected, but tall, dark-eyed, with a calm that made her heart skip in a way she didn't like. "Emily Hart?" he asked. "Yes, from the agency." "Come in," he said, stepping aside. His voice was low, careful. "I'm Daniel Reeves. My wife, Clara, is upstairs putting Noah down." The warmth hit her first, then the smell, sandalwood, and something faintly metallic, like rain on old iron. The kind of house that's too quiet. Even with money, he gestured toward the sitting room. "Coffee?" She shook her head. "Thank you, but I don't drink it after 5. He smiled slightly. Good habit. They stood there a moment, neither moving. Then footsteps, soft, hurried, and Clara appeared at the top of the stairs. She was beautiful in that effortless, sleep-deprived way mothers sometimes are. Pale, elegant hair loosely tied. "Oh," she breathed, smiling. "You must be Emily. We're so glad you came." Emily's chest loosened a little. Clara's kindness was disarming. They talked about feeding schedules, nap routines, the quiet lane nearby where she could take the baby in his stroller. All the usual things, until Daniel spoke again. "You've lived here long?" he asked, too casually. "Just moved last week," she said. "From the city." He nodded, but his eyes lingered, not rudely, not kindly either. Just searching, as if her face reminded him of something. Later, when Clara showed her the nursery, painted soft gray, with stars across the ceiling, Emily felt the first pang of comfort she'd had in months. The crib, the lullaby mobile, the scent of baby powder, all of it wrapped her like a clean slate. "This will be your room next door," Clara said, opening the adjoining door. "We'd like you close by." Emily smiled. "Of course." But that night, after they'd gone to bed and she sat unpacking, she noticed something strange. On the dresser was a framed photo of the couple with baby, and behind them, in the blurred background, was a woman, standing in the park, half-turned. Woman with the same chestnut hair as hers. The same shape of face, her breath caught. It couldn't. She'd left that life behind, changed her name. But Daniel's eyes at the door came back to her now. He'd looked at her like a man, recognizing a ghost. The baby cried just before midnight. A small sound, at first on a soft whimper that cut through the silence, like a blade through silk. Emily was already awake. She'd been lying there, staring at the ceiling, tracing the faint flicker of headlights that passed through the curtains. She slipped into the nursery, bare feet silent on the rug. Noah's cheeks were damp. His fists curled tight. "It's okay," she whispered, rocking him gently. "You're safe now. You're okay." He quieted almost immediately, and that comforted her more than she expected. It had been so long since she'd held someone this small. Someone who didn't yet know the world could turn cruel overnight. The monitor crackled faintly on the dresser. Then, another sound. A voice. Daniel's, low and muffled, coming through from another room. Emily froze, still holding the baby. The walls here were thin, or maybe the house wanted her to hear. "No, I'm sure," he was saying. "Same eyes, same mouth. You think I wouldn't notice?" Then silence. A door shut. Her heart stumbled. She laid Noah back down, tucked him in, and retreated to her room, pulse drumming in her ears. He couldn't have meant her. He couldn't know. The next morning, Daniel acted as if nothing had happened. He was at the kitchen counter, sleeves rolled, hair still damp from the shower. Clara was feeding Noah in his high chair, smiling as she offered spoonfuls of mashed pear. Morning, Emily said, forcing a smile. Morning, Daniel replied, not looking up. Sleep okay? Fine. He nodded once, curt, almost polite. Clara, oblivious, beamed. You're a miracle, Emily. He barely fussed at all last night. Emily smiled, though her hands trembled around the coffee mug. He's an easy baby. That day passed slowly. She walked Noah through the lane, the stroller wheels hissing over wet gravel. Autumn leaves clung to the branches above like secrets that refused to fall. She found herself looking over her shoulder more than once, convinced someone was following. But every time, there was only the wind. When she returned, Clara was gone. A note on the counter. Errand in town. Back before dinner. Daniel was upstairs in his office. Hours passed. At 4, Noah napped. At 5, she heard footsteps behind her. Steady, deliberate. Daniel stood in the doorway. Do you like it here? He asked. Emily turned slowly. Yes, your family's been kind. He leaned against the frame, arms folded. You look familiar, you know that? Her stomach dropped. People say that sometimes. No, he said softly, his eyes narrowing. Not just familiar, known. The silence stretched, taut and thin. Then Clara's car pulled up outside, tires crunching on gravel. Daniel straightened instantly. Dinner soon, he said, and left. That night, Emily dreamt of flashbulbs, of sirens and the sound of her own name echoing from a newspaper she'd tried to forget. When she woke, her throat was dry, her pillow damp. From the nursery came Noah's faint cry again. But this time, when she rose to comfort him, she saw something move in the reflection of the hallway mirror. Daniel, standing in the shadows, watching her. Morning came gray and restless. Rain pressed against the windows, whispering through the gutters like a secret that wouldn't stop telling itself. Emily made breakfast in silence. Toast, eggs, a bit of fruit for Noah, pretending she didn't feel Daniel's eyes on her from across the table. Clara, cheerful and oblivious, filled the room with easy chatter about paint samples for the study. But Daniel barely spoke, and when he did, his voice carried something colder beneath the warmth. Emily, he said at last, setting his mug down. Where did you say you were from again? She froze mid-motion. Up north, she said quickly. A small town. He tilted his head. Name of it? Brenton, he smiled faintly. Never heard of it. The way he said it told her he wasn't asking to learn. He was checking if she'd lie. And she had. After breakfast, Clara kissed Noah's forehead and grabbed her bag. Appointments all day, she said. But I'll be home early. Daniel nodded, watching her go. When the door shut, the silence left behind was unbearable. Emily busied herself cleaning the kitchen, her movements mechanical. The air between them thickened. Then Daniel spoke again, softly, almost kindly. You know, he said, I used to be a reporter. A long time ago, she glanced up. Really? Crime beat, he said, back when stories could still ruin people. Her breath hitched. He smiled without humor. You'd be amazed what you learn about faces when you spend years staring at mugshots. He left before she could answer, leaving the scent of his cologne hanging like a memory she didn't want. That afternoon, she tried to call the agency, but there was no signal, just static. And then, faintly, her own voice echoing back, as though the line was being monitored. By evening, she'd convinced herself she was imagining things, until Clara returned. She came in soaked from the rain, clutching a paper bag of groceries, laughing. You won't believe who I ran into at the market. Daniel's old editor. Said he hasn't seen him in years. Daniel, emerging from the study, looked up sharply. Oh? Yes, he asked about you. Said you used to cover that big trial, remember? The woman accused of Daniel cut her off. Not at the table. Clara blinked, confused. What? I said not at the table. The silence after that was brutal. Noah fussed in his high chair. Sensing it too, Emily lowered her gaze. Trial. The word hit her like glass. Later that night, she slipped outside. The air was cold, tasting of rust and wet leaves. She walked down the drive, trying to steady her breath. Halfway to the gate, a motion light flicked on. A figure stood there, still. Silent Daniel. He stepped closer, voice barely a whisper. Tell me the truth. You worked at the hospital on 9th Street, didn't you? Her throat closed. I don't know what you mean. Yes, you do. His tone was measured, almost gentle. You were there when the child died. You vanished right after. Her pulse hammered in her ears. He took another step. I remember your face, he said. But the name was different then, wasn't it? The wind rose, carrying the scent of rain and fear. Emily didn't answer. She turned and ran back toward the house. And somewhere behind her, Daniel called her real name. She slammed the door behind her and locked it. The echo thundered through the quiet halls, startling Noah awake upstairs. Her heart was still galloping, breath sharp, chest tight. He knew. Somehow, after all these years, he knew. She forced herself up the staircase, taking Noah from his crib, clutching him against her shoulder. His warmth steadied her shaking hands. It's okay, she whispered, though her voice trembled. You're okay. From downstairs came the soft creak of a floorboard, then Daniel's voice. Calm, almost sorrowful. Emily, or should I say, Grace? Her blood froze. That name hadn't been spoken aloud in 4 years. She backed into the nursery corner, the nightlight throwing pale blue across her face. How do you know that name? He didn't answer right away. Just stood in the doorway, his expression unreadable in the dim. Finally, he said, because I was there. The room tilted. The years she'd tried to bury came flooding back. The sterile hallway, the gurney, the blinding flash of police lights. The baby who never made it out of surgery. The mistake that destroyed everything. She swallowed hard. You were there at the hospital? He nodded. I covered the story, negligence in the neonatal ward. That's what they called it. But it wasn't negligence, was it? Her knees weakened. He stepped closer. I read your statement. The pressure, the understaffing, the missing chart. You were the scapegoat. Her throat ached. So what do you want from me? I wanted to see if it was really you. He looked at the baby, sleeping now between them. And if you were capable of caring for another child after what happened. Tears stung her eyes. That wasn't my fault. I know, he said quietly. But you ran. You changed your name. You disappeared. What else was I supposed to do? No one believed me. They said I falsified records, that I... She stopped herself, shaking her head. I didn't kill that baby. He exhaled, rubbing his face. I never thought you did. She stared at him. Then why scare me like this? Because, he said softly, the truth didn't die there. Someone made sure it stayed buried. And now they know you're here. Something in his voice changed then, a heaviness that chilled her deeper than fear. What do you mean? She whispered. Clara, he said. She knows who you are. The words fell like stones. No, Emily breathed. She hired me. She hired you because she wanted to see if the rumors were true. Her sister's baby, the one who died that night. Emily's vision blurred. No. Her sister was the mother, Grace. Silence crashed between them. Daniel's voice broke through it, rough, almost pleading. She doesn't know the whole story. But if she finds out who you really are, she'll destroy you. A car engine roared outside. Headlights flared through the window. Daniel turned sharply. She's back, we don't have much time. He grabbed her arm. Take Noah, go to the back door, now. Emily clutched the baby tight. Daniel, I'll keep her busy. Just go. Her legs moved before her mind did. Down the hall, through the kitchen, into the cold rain again. She ran. Noah pressed against her chest, Daniel's voice echoing behind her. Don't let her find you. Rain swept across the yard in hard silver sheets, stinging Emily's skin as she ran. Branches clawed at her sleeves, mud clung to her shoes, and Noah whimpered softly against her chest. Behind her, the mansion's lights burned through the storm, bright, frantic, alive. She stumbled down the slope toward the tree line. The night was wild, full of wind and the smell of pine and fear. Somewhere a car door slammed, then Clara's voice, distant, rising, calling her name. Emily, stop! Her pulse thundered. She didn't dare look back, she just kept moving until her foot caught a root, and she fell hard, shielding Noah from the blow. Pain burst through her arm, but she held him close. His small hand brushed her cheek, as if reminding her to breathe. Then a beam of light cut through the trees. Clara's flashlight. Her voice came again, closer now, shaking with something that wasn't anger. "Grace, please, just talk to me." The name froze her in place. Emily turned slowly, blinking through the rain. Clara stood a few yards away, soaked to the bone, her hair plastered to her face. Her eyes glistened in the pale light, not with fury, but grief. "You knew," Emily whispered. Clara nodded. "I knew the moment I saw you. The agency sent your file, but I didn't tell them what I recognized. I wanted to see you myself. Why? Because my sister never got the truth. They told us you were responsible, that you vanished because you couldn't face what you'd done." Emily shook her head. "I didn't vanish because I was guilty. I vanished because no one would listen." The rain fell harder, a curtain between them. Clara took a step closer. "Then tell me now. Tell me what happened that night." Emily's voice trembled as she spoke. "The monitors were down. We were short-staffed. I begged for another nurse, but no one came. I turned my back for 1 minute, and when I came back, the baby wasn't breathing. I tried to save him. I did everything I could." Her throat broke on the words. "I wrote it all down, filed the report. But the chart disappeared. Someone erased it, and they blame me." Clara lowered the flashlight, her face pale, stricken. "That someone," Emily said, "was your sister's husband." The forest went silent except for the rain. Clara's lips parted. "What? He was having an affair with a nurse on the ward. If the truth came out, it would have ruined him, so he made me the story." Clara's eyes filled. The light trembled in her hand. "I didn't know," she whispered. "God, I didn't know." Emily hugged Noah closer, tears mixing with the rain. "I never wanted to hurt anyone. I just wanted to start over." Behind them, Daniel appeared on the path, breathless, soaked, holding a small folder in his hand. "I found it," he said. "The missing chart. I had a copy from the archives." He held it out to Clara. "It proves everything." Clara stared at the pages, her face collapsing under the weight of truth. Then softly she nodded. "You saved my son tonight," she said to Emily. "And you tried to save hers. I'm so sorry." The rain softened. The wind eased. For the first time in years, Emily felt something unthinkable. Peace. Daniel touched her shoulder. "You don't have to run anymore." She looked down at Noah, sleeping in her arms, his breath warm against her neck. "No," she whispered. "Neither of us do." And as dawn broke through the clouds above Larchmont Hill, Grace Hart, the woman the world had condemned, finally became Emily again. Thanks for watching.